In today's video, I thought I would talk about a few points that might help somebody become a first call session musician. And that's not easy to do, especially nowadays where so many of the larger studios have unfortunately closed down. Every second musician has a studio themselves that they want to do everything in. Why should people call you? Let's get into it. Hello everybody, my name is Travis Mark. I am the host of this YouTube channel, as well as the Musician's Mentor podcast. While you're here, if you're interested in subscribing, please do. Likewise, if you're interested in checking out any of the interviews that I've already published with the Musician's Mentor podcast, simply go to the playlist section on this channel or search the Musician's Mentor podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, whatever it is you prefer. If you do enjoy the podcast, please leave me a rating or review. Likewise, if you're enjoying the content that I'm trying to put on this channel, please drop me a like or a comment below. Thank you. So as mentioned on the top of the video, today I want to talk about a few points that you might want to consider if you're trying to become a top call session musician. Now, I know I alluded to it already, but if you're new to this world, you do need to take into account that unfortunately, a lot of the music industry has changed over the last few decades. We don't have as many big recording studios as we used to. Yes, we still have lots of artists and lots of people trying to make it and get out there, and lots of people are doing that very, very well. However, budgets have decreased, so not every record gets a session musician on it anymore. Also, a lot of the already in-demand session players do take up a lot of work. Now, that's not to say you can't do it. I'm a big believer that everything is achievable. So if you are trying to become one of the top called session musicians, here's a few steps that you can take to try and get there. The first and most obvious step is you need to practice. You need to become a master on your chosen instrument, and you need to be diverse in as many different styles as humanly possible. Don't just become the guy that plays funk really well. You need to do funk really well, rock really well, jazz really well, blues, reggae, metal, pop music, K-pop. I mean, any genre you can think of, you need to at least have some kind of facility there, because if you do land up getting a call for a session, you want to be able to do it, and you want to be able to do it authentically so that it sounds like you're playing the genre that you were hired for. Now, again, that can be taken with a slight pinch of salt, because let's assume you get really good at the rock stuff. Well, maybe you become the guy that gets called for the rock stuff. So it all is variable, because sometimes two things can be right at once. So you might want to be the guy that focuses just on one thing and get that call, but you might want to be the guy that focuses on everything and gets those calls. But the bottom line is you need a good facility on your instrument, and you should also have a good idea of what's happening with music at the moment. Because hypothetically, you don't want to get a call and someone says, man, it would be great if you kind of made that sound a bit more like Sabrina Carpenter, and you're still so stuck in your world of, I don't know, who was hot in the early 2000s, Rihanna. You're stuck in Rihanna world. And so you play a Rihanna thing, and that's not what they meant. So overall, you want to have a good general knowledge of what's happening in the charts, what things sound like, and how to emulate those sounds. Tones, rhythms, placements. If you're a regular listener to the podcast, you will know that I often ask musicians about location. Some seem to think it makes no difference nowadays because of the internet. Others think it makes the world of difference. So again, you need to decide on that factor. However, if I was trying to become a top session player, I think being in one of the musical hubs would be extremely beneficial. So Los Angeles, London, Miami, Austin, Nashville. You know, the places that are making a lot of the original music that we hear on playlists and the radio and television. If you locate to one of those places, you're probably going to at least be seen if you're getting out there correctly by the people who are curating and making that music, and you have a better chance. I think there are a lot of stories where people are getting work purely because of videos and reels that they put up on social media. So it possibly is a blurred line right now, but I think from my personal point of view, I would try and be in the place. And then once I'm there, I would once again go into networking and figuring out the best possible way to showcase and market my skills as a musician to the masses. So whether that means getting gigs or going to jams or making reels for Instagram and TikTok, it's really up to you, but it's going to come down a lot to who you know and who's seeing you. If you decide not to move and you're using social media, you want to make sure that what you're putting out there is always of a certain level and that you are easily accessible. Because if you're showcasing your skills as, let's say, a guitarist, and you're showing that you can do all these crazy, wonderful things with taste, hopefully, and they can't get hold of you, there's no point putting that stuff up. If you're trying to get work as a session musician, you want to be able to be contacted, and you want to make sure that you can create recordings that they might want at a reasonable price at the highest possible quality. So that takes us to point 3. I know I just said this, but if you have to work remotely, you need to make sure that the output quality of your recordings is of the highest possible standard. You possibly want to make sure you know about sample rates for different producers who might be working at different sample rates. You would need to know about mic placement so that you know how to create different sounds without relying purely on plugins, which so many people do now. You want to give them the recording in its cleanest possible form without any plugins, without any EQs or compression, none of that stuff, so that they can manipulate it on their side while they are producing the record or the song or the ad or whatever it is that they are producing. Always serve the music to the best of your ability and do what is asked of you for that session. Don't go in there with an ego. Don't go in there thinking you're going to put your coolest Jimi Hendrix lick in a song that doesn't require that. Do what is required, you'll get paid, and it's job done. So try your best to keep your ego in check. Most session musicians are great at this. They go in, don't say a word, see what's required, play it, leave. On to the next one. And in the heyday of sessions, some of those session musicians were doing 2, 3, 4 sessions a day. That's why if you check out the old recordings from like the 50s, the 60s, even into the 70s, some of the guys playing on those records are playing on everything. It's pretty incredible. Again, the industry has changed, so that might not be the case for you, but that's not to say it isn't possible. And then the last thing I would do, even if you did move to the location, and even if you are posting content on social media, I would have some kind of online business card, whether that's a website or a static page with just a cool picture and your contact information, maybe a show reel of some kind, whether that's purely audio or video, it's up to you, but showcase your skills once again so that there's always something up there to show people that this is what you are offering the world. Nowadays, you can go on services like Fiverr or Upwork and offer them as well. There's also websites like Soundbrenner, so you can get on there, create yourself a profile, and advertise your services. A lot of musicians do this as a side hustle while they're off the road, while they're in between gigs or in between lessons. All just different ways to make money, but great ways to beef up your resume and also expose you to styles that you might never have gotten to play, but maybe had spent some time practicing in your practice room. I hope this is helpful. If it is, please do subscribe. You can hit that button right there. Or if you want to add to the conversation, please drop me a comment. I'll see you on the next one.